Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole
Yeah.
one.
This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America. Hello, and welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and today is Tuesday, October 29th, I think. Yeah, boy, 29th. Only a couple more days left, and guess what? We got Halloween coming up. Boy, am I going to get some candy come Halloween. Hey, we've got our audio tonight going out on an international shortwave station on 5130 up on WBCQ, the Planet, real famous shortwave station. We're there every Tuesday night. And if you're listening on shortwave tonight, send us an email to tom@w5kub.com and tell us where you are and give us a signal report on how things are sounding to you there. Also, if you have internet where you are tonight, you can get on and watch the show. Kind of watch it. It's kind of like a TV show, you know. You don't have to listen to it on shortwave. You can tune in on internet, watch the show, and at w5kub.com. And we also have a chat room where you can log into the chat room and you can actually talk directly to us. I can see what you might be wanting to say to us, and you can chat with other folks in the chat room there. We may open the phone lines up a little later in the show tonight. I think we'll have a good opportunity to do that. We have phone lines in about 65 countries for you to call in, so it's not uncommon to have Tony down in Australia call in to the show. Join our Facebook group. We've got a great Facebook group that follows the show. It's called W5KUB on Facebook. We've got over 8,000 hams in that group now, and it's growing every day. Use it for any ham radio related things you want to do. Put your shack pictures in there, and a lot of times Katie Allen will pull the shack pictures from Facebook, and we'll have a good time one Tuesday night, and we'll look at all your ham shacks here on the show. I had a good net tonight. Actually, we had about 25 check-ins. The band conditions were really funny tonight. One minute the propagation was there, another minute it was not there. It's kind of like somebody had a switch. And tonight it wasn't that much fading. It was either on or off. That's exactly how the thing worked tonight. But we did manage to get about 25 check-ins tonight. And I hope that we've got a few people new that maybe have joined us tonight. Hey, if you're new and this is your first time to join, tell us in the chat room. I'd like to know if this is the first time you've been to the show. So tonight we're going to find out about CQ, what's going up in CQ. We've got Pat Shelton with us, K7LNP. He's going to talk about meteor scatter, I think, and then I'm going to do a segment on a neat little 40-meter great vertical antenna. It's a 3/8 wave vertical antenna that's got a low angle of radiation, great for DX, and so easy to build, and it doesn't cost hardly anything. So let's just jump over real quick and let's see who we got remotely in here tonight. And let me bring them up. So I was looking for Katie tonight. Katie is traveling. She's gone to a wedding. But she was going to try from her hotel room to get into the show tonight. She may join us, she may not, I don't know, but she is invited to our call here. Hey, let me say hello, Pat. We haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been doing, Pat?
Hey, Tom and the group. Doing good. Been quite a while. A lot of stuff going on this year. In the process of completing a whole home remodel from one end to the other, and work, and just a whole bunch of stuff. So it's been crazy, but now winter is here, and it's kind of time to play radio again. So it's good to be back on the show.
Well, that's great, and we're looking forward to. And now tonight you're going to be talking about meteor scatters, all right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a
Okay.
couple of showers coming up, and
I've
yeah,
never-
we'll get a nice presentation for you.
I've never done that before, but and I don't even know how to do it. You're going to tell us how to do it tonight.
Gonna try.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Rich, let's go up to New Jersey. Rich, how are you tonight, man?
I'm doing great, thank you, and enjoying chatting with you and Pat before the show, and of course had a great time this weekend on the CQ Worldwide DX contest. I hope a lot of your listeners and viewers also had a chance to get on the air and have fun. We didn't have sunspots, but we do have the contest, and it makes its own propagation. That was pretty obvious from the bands.
Yeah, I was
15
going to
meters
say. I was going to say, Rich, I got on this weekend, and boy, the contest, I didn't work the contest, but the contest was going big, man. There was a lot on there.
Yep, and there's a lot of good DX out there, too, on sometimes on bands that you would think would be closed at this point in the sunspot cycle. Wasn't much happening on 10 that I heard, but 15 was very, very active. And a lot of good east-west propagation over to Europe from east coast of the U.S. I don't know about from elsewhere. So throughout the day, pretty much. And 20, of course, was 20. Always hot.
Yeah. I have noticed some band openings, though. Even, I guess, the end of the week, even before the contest, I noticed that I was hearing stations on 21 megs, on even the 24 meg band. I heard a few people there too.
Well, I think that we joke that the CQ Worldwide makes its own propagation, and perhaps there's something to that. But I think what we're seeing, particularly with tools like the Reverse Beacon Network and Whisper, that there are openings that you don't know about. And it's kind of like, what if you gave a party and nobody came? Everybody's waiting for somebody else to be getting on the air and calling CQ, and these openings are happening, but nobody's on the air to know about them. And when you have a contest like the CQ Worldwide going on, there are people on all the bands all the time, and anytime there is an opening, you get to take advantage of it because there's somebody out there calling CQ.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, hey, let's just jump right into it, man. Let's talk about CQ and what's coming up. Do you know what's coming up this next month?
Of course I do, because I'm not Karnak the Magnificent, but I do have an inside line. Before I get to the November issue, though, I want to mention our calendars. They're in, and we've got 2 calendars this year. The regular amateur radio calendar with all sorts of cool pictures of different stations and operations. We start out up in Finland with
That's cool.
This is a kind of a snowmobile. What do they call it here? It's an artificial intelligence creature, kind of a space capsule for the far north. It was used to cross sea ice to activate an island for islands on the air. And then we get a little warmer, go down to Tonga, and have some stuff from there. And we got other stuff all over the world. Fox hunting, and
oh yeah, a lot of kids there, and you got the tape measure antennas. Yeah. Yep,
we got a lot of young hams here. Here's you'll recognize him, Tom, Drew Vreba, our young ham of the year from Newsline. He's in the calendar, and we also have our commemorative 75th anniversary calendar, and this is really cool. What we did was collected articles and ads from, since it's a 15-month calendar, we took 5 years each page, each month, and on each page there's an article, an ad, and a cover that are representative of some of the major things that went on in that 5-year period. This is from February. It's from 1950 to 54. The cover is about mobiling, an ad for crystals, which were the only way to set your frequency back in those days, and the first column we had the first column, and this is the first one of the first column on novices, the Novice Shack, back in 1952, I think it was. No, September of 1951. So each page has a different 5-year period, and you get a 75-year history of ham radio and CQ magazine in 15 easy pages over the course of a year. So those are in and available, and encourage people to get both or one. They are $12.95 each plus shipping. For the U.S., it's $3 shipping, so it's $15.95. And then there's a special on both calendars. I think it's $25 for both of them, including shipping. So, and the shipping prices are a little higher if you're outside the U.S. So they're really cool opportunity, wonderful calendars. We've got phases of the moon, major meteor showers, so you can keep track of what Pat's going to be talking about later on, and know when to point your antenna toward the sky. And what else do we have? Phases of the moon, major contests, hamfests, things like that. So a lot of good info in addition to great pictures. In the November issue, speaking of young hams, we've got one of our new young contesters on the cover, and this is David Samu, VE7DZO from British Columbia, and he's representative of a new generation of contesters and DXers. His picture is from the 2019 CQ Worldwide CW contest. The WPX CW contest. People say that there are no kids and that they're not interested in CW. Well, he disproves that, both of them, because CW is his favorite mode, and he's been on a DXpedition. He's heavily involved in contesting and is part of a new generation of leaders in DXing and contesting who you'll be hearing more from in the future. We'd have the results of the WPX CW contest. That's the main focus of the front part of the magazine, as well as the very back, which has the line scores. Every log that was submitted, we have their score posted. We've got some really interesting articles on a variety of different topics this month. We have KC9UL wrote a piece on chasing special event stations and the fun behind doing that. Ray Vincent, W6PUX, who is an expert on tracking down noise, has written an article on tracking down noise at his QTH. And for those of you who are not experts in the field, you should take comfort in the fact that he hasn't figured it out yet.
Oh boy!
And the subtitle is a work in progress. So that's a really good story about the procedures and processes he's using and the equipment he's using to try to track down this noise. Continuing our CQ Classic column as we approach our 75th anniversary, we have the first article by Wayne Green, W2NSD, the radio teletype column, and he went on to, of course, become an icon on ham radio. He spent 5 years as editor of CQ before going on to found his own magazine, 73. So this is his first article in CQ, and just to show you that radio teletype is not just something from the past, we follow that immediately with an article by WB9YBM on creating your own RIDI hotspot for operating RIDI Portable.
Oh man!
So
Rich, I was a teletype repairman in the Air Force. The old greasy machines. I don't want another teletype machine. Everything is so much easier now.
I remember those machines and never had one, but we had one in our school radio club, and that was quite the bear to do anything with. So much easier to use your computer now and just see the messages on the screen, although you don't have them typing out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another cool feature article is by our intrepid electronics investigator, Sherlock. Sherlock investigates the case of the 3 orange pips. And, of course, you're going to have to read the article to find out what that's about.
All right.
In our columns, Irwin Math, WA2NDM, tells you how to build your own LED light bulbs. So that should be that's a lot of fun. W4ALT in his emergency communications column talks about hooking up with your local CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team, and working ham radio into their operations. Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, in his kit building column, celebrates 10 years of writing the kit building column. And note that it's not only Joe's 10th anniversary in this issue, but my 20th as editor.
Wow.
So time has flown by very quickly. And he's also writing about the 4-state QRP group's first phone transceiver, the Nouveau 75, and that's actually a 2-parter. He finishes that up in December. Tony Emanuel, K8ZR, our VHF Plus editor, reports on a fantastic tropo opening on 2 meters in the end of the summer, and it was really amazing DX that was worked all over the place based on the weather. And DX editor Bob Schenk, N200, takes us back in time about 15 years or 16 years to a DXpedition to Pratas. That's an island in the South China Sea, as I recall. The call was BQ9P, and he's got a great article on the operation there. And in contesting editor K3ZJ reminds us, first of all, that this year's CQ Worldwide CW contest is not on Thanksgiving weekend, because the way the calendar falls out, Thanksgiving is the week before the CQ Worldwide weekend. So no excuses for not being on the air this year. And finally, in propagation column, NW7US, Thomas Hood writes about space weather, the Sun-Earth connection, and radio propagation. It's a bit of some basics, and if you're not really fully conversant in the connection between the activity on the sun and propagation here on Earth, it's a good read and very educational. And even if you think you know it, it's still worth reading because you'll get refreshed.
Well, I need to read that because something was definitely going on tonight, with the band.
So there's still a lot to be learned and discovered, and some of these tools we have, like as I mentioned before, Reverse Beacon Network and Whisper, are very helpful, along with all the satellites that are pointing at the sun and tracking what's going on there and merging all that together. That's kind of like the focus of the HamSci group and people like that who are trying to bring together the science, professional science, and the contributions that hams can make by having a lot of different data points. So that's the basics of what's coming up in the November issue of CQ. And of course, we encourage you to go visit our website and sign up for a subscription, either the print edition or the digital edition for U.S. readers. Outside the U.S., digital subscriptions are available at same price as anywhere else. And we hope to have you join us if you're not already a CQ reader, and get the magazine every month, and pick up a couple of calendars too. And I think we've got a special going on. If you sign up for 3 years, you may get a free calendar in there. I'm not sure on that.
Well, that's
but,
cool. Hey, it sounds like you got a lot going on next month. I'm looking forward to getting the magazine and checking it out, man.
And December is going to be our technology special, which we're just in the process of wrapping up now.
Okay. And you'll be back here in a few weeks, and we'll talk about it. If you can share
indeed.
any secrets with us, Yeah.
I always try to share some secrets.
Yeah.
And hello to Katie, who I see on the bottom.
Thank you, Rich, so much for coming in here tonight and giving us an insight to what's coming up. Always look forward to it.
And I want to wish a happy Thanksgiving to everybody as well.
All right.
All right.
And hey, stick around a minute if you want to.
Halloween.
Halloween, yeah, I was going to say, hey, stick around a minute if you want to, and you can help us welcome. We got a stranger that's joining us here. Let me see if I can bring the stranger in. Let's see here. There we go. Look at there. There we go. How you doing there, Katie?
Good.
Now, where are you?
I am in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm sorry this is not the greatest connection. I'm here in my hotel room. Just finished a long day at Ham Radio Outlet, and looked at the time, and I said, "Oh, still have time to pop on and say hi to everybody."
Yeah, well, we called you earlier, and I was afraid you stood us up, but I knew you were traveling, and it would have been okay. Yeah.
Well, by the time we finished up closed the store up at 5:30 and got through the traffic and made a quick pit stop to pick up some food to bring to the hotel. I was eating and talking to Dwayne, and all of a sudden I looked at my watch. I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm missing the show. I gotta go."
All right. So, and you're in Phoenix, right now?
Yep, but I head home tomorrow, and been doing a lot of videos, and I'm working on splicing them together, and we'll have some hopefully a really neat video of my time in Phoenix. So I'll be posting that up hopefully soon. It's probably going to take me a day or two as I'm learning some new stuff, but it's been a lot of fun and great to meet all the folks that work down here, and of course beautiful weather, in my flip-flops today, as opposed to the 12 degrees and snow at home.
Didn't you go down there for a wedding?
I did. My nephew Zach got married to a wonderful girl named Carrie Ann, and they had a wonderful wedding on Sunday down in Tucson. I was officiant for the wedding, and it was terrific. It was wonderful to see my brother and family, and spend some time with some family, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a good time.
Well, that's great. Now, I guess you said Dwayne is back home in Wyoming?
Yep, he's home, Mom's home, and the cats are all home. I'm the only one that's straggling behind.
So what kind of weather you got back home?
Well, apparently this morning, first thing, it was about 4 degrees and got up to about 12.
Oh, boy.
There was some difficulty with travel yesterday due to the snow. Although there wasn't a lot of snow, there was a lot of wind, which of course makes visibility a challenge. Dwayne said there's only about an inch of snow, but it's just really darn cold, and the wind so blows it around, and that's obviously not too much fun. So I will be wearing shoes and socks home tomorrow for sure.
Well, that's good. Well, all right, Katie. Well, hey, I know you've been real busy there. You stay as long as you want, or scoot out whenever you want. Maybe you need to go to eat dinner.
I just wanted
to
pop in and say hi to everybody. I still got some more work to do tonight, so I'm going to log off and finish my soup and do a little bit more work here tonight, and then pack up to head home in the morning. Okay.
Now, I guess we'll see you next week, right?
Yep, I'll be back next week.
All right. We'll see you next week, and maybe you can share some pictures or something with us.
Have a safe trip.
All right. We'll see you.
Safe trip.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Rich. Bye.
All right. Well, that was cool to get Katie in here tonight. I wasn't sure. She said she was going to try to make it if she could, and there she is. So we're happy, always happy to have Katie in there. I know everybody tunes in to see Katie and say hi to her. Okay, well, let's see what we got going here. I think next we're going to talk with Pat about some meteor scatter, I believe.
I'm going to drop out before Pat starts,
Rich.
So
okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, Rich. Take care.
See you next month.
Thanks for coming, Rich. Thanks for coming, and thanks for the update.
All righty. Good night.
All right, good night. All right. Okay, guys, we've got Pat with us, Pat Shelton, K7LNP, and Pat is is it VHF and above? I forget what we named this, Pat.
Yeah, just VHF and above segment,
Rich,
I think.
Let's see, I was thinking I had a lower third made up. I don't know if we call it VHF and beyond, or I don't remember what we called it, man.
Well, it's all fun.
But anyway, we're going to talk about that tonight.
For sure.
So you want to jump right into it?
Yeah, Yeah, we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and let me share my screen because I did a PowerPoint presentation. Let's see. Are you able to?
Not yet. Now it's coming. Oh, I see your desktop.
Okay. And let's see. Let's go to slideshow.
I'm seeing a meteor scatter.
Yeah, let me see if I can get rid of the.
Is there a way to enlarge that? Can you make it full screen?
I am.
Good.
I'm going to move this down here. And let's see if we can. Let's see. Oh, I want to do that. Hold on a second. Let's go ahead and. Oh, we don't want to record it. Let's see. Set up slideshow. Yeah. What's going on here? Hold on one second, Tom. Bear with me. Let's see if we can. I want to record a slideshow. I'm not looking to do that. Just looking to play a slideshow.
Is that PowerPoint? It's kind of small.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom right, isn't there a little symbol you click on to open it up into a PowerPoint presentation? Bottom right, there's a picture there. One of those little. I think one of those will take you into slideshow.
There we go. How's that?
That looks good.
That look better?
Oh yeah, yeah, looks good.
Okay, cool. That's changed. There was an update to PowerPoint. I used to be able to go into the slideshow up at the top and go from there. Anyway, before I start, I'd like to give a little shout out to my son and my granddaughter. My son got his license about a year ago. His name is Craig, and matter of fact, I was over at his place tonight. We got we put up an end-fed wire, and it's transmitting okay, it's loading okay, but the box with the transformer in it, we've got it bolted to the top of an aluminum awning. And I think it's causing us some issues. So we got him all set up with an HF radio and what have you, and we're slowly working through it. And I'm really interested to hear about your vertical, because he's on in a manufactured home, so he's in a park, and stealth is kind of important. So definitely want to hear about that, and just say hi to my granddaughter Cece, who's listening and watching, a future ham, and my little grandson Jackson. So they're both listening tonight. Anyway, before we start the presentation, I guess what maybe put this together was 6 meters this year. If you lived east of Oklahoma, maybe even east of Colorado, was just an amazing year this summer on the digital modes and even on sideband. In your neck of the woods there, Tom, everybody was working into Europe. It was crazy. But everything west, it was a really poor summer for 6 here. We had some openings into the southwest, down into South America a couple of times, but it was crazy how you'd look at the FT8 right now seems to be the hottest thing on 6 meters, and you look at DX maps and it would just be a solid blob of red from half the country to the east to the shore, and then to the west there was nothing. So a lot of guys out in my neck of the woods ended up still wanted to take advantage of 6 and really put a lot of efforts into working meteor scatter this year. So I thought I'd put a little slideshow together. Now, my little slideshows are always 40-50 pages, but hopefully we can pass on a little bit of information, and so people can have some fun and can try this different mode with all the HF radios, all the newer, well, not newer, just radios from the past several years. Everything just about has 50 megahertz on it now. So tonight we'll talk a little bit about 6 meter meteor scatter. So let's go ahead and just get started. I'm not a pro by any means, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've had a lot of trials and tribulations with equipment. But in the long run, I got everything sorted out with a lot of help from a lot of different people over the years, and I've had a ball with it. So I will pass on to the group what I know. Anyway. Kind of go over the presentation a little bit. We're going to talk about why we use meteor scatter, how does it work, what do you need to operate, and best practices using this mode. 6 meters is truly the magic band. I know I gave a presentation several months ago about 6. I've been on 6 meters for over 40 years. I love the band because it's amazing. It is the only band, to my knowledge, that offers just about every different type of propagation type that's out there. We talk about magic band. Let's talk a little about magic dust, because that's ultimately what meteor scatter work comes down to. This presentation is going to cover the digital side of meteor scatter operation. The software, I would say today it's probably a good chance that 85% of the hams out there, well, let's say 80%, are using some sort of digital mode. FT8 has kind of taken over. And the software that runs FT8, which is WSJTX, supports so many different modes, but of course it supports the VHF modes and above, and specifically for this presentation, the MSK 144 mode that we're going to talk about to do 6 meteor scatter. If you've got a radio set up today that has 50 meg on it and you're running FT8, man, you're about 90% there. So we'll kind of continue on. So why use meteor scatter? Well, it's truly a strange and exotic mode. The messages are very short. It's not a chat mode by any means. And it's mainly used on 50 and 144 megahertz, so 6 meters and 2 meters. Although there were a lot of people this year that were running meteor scatter on 222. Not a lot of 222 equipment out there, but a lot of guys up in the Pacific Northwest and here in the Intermountain West and in the Midwest, people that had 222 radios, or radios that were capable of a radio with a transverter that was capable of transmitting and receiving on 222 were taking part and having pretty good success. But let's talk really about 6 meters first, and just a couple things in general is when 6 is open, it's really open. When it's not open, no amount of power or antennas are going to give you any sort of range. Popular ways to increase range are, of course, using meteor scatters, reflecting signals from ionized trails, EME, reflecting signals from the moon, but moon bounce is somewhat unreliable. It's going to be subject to the moon's position in the sky. And 6 meter EME, while it is getting more popular, requires substantial power and very large arrays. 8, 10, 12 element single Yagi array. A lot of people are now putting up 2 and 4 Yagi antenna arrays on these massive H-frames. If I had the room, I would do it, but I don't have the room here. Meteor scatter works pretty much 24/7. There's always some of that magic dust floating around somewhere. So let's talk about what really open means when we talk about 6 meters. Again, a dipole and 10 watts. If the band is open, you can work just about anywhere, and especially if you're going to start using the digital modes, even though sadly the sideband side of things and the CW side of things on 6 has kind of gone to the wayside, and FT8 has taken over, but it doesn't take a lot to work 6. If you don't have a 6 meter antenna, but you have a dipole, a 40 meter dipole, believe it or not, works pretty doggone good on 6 meters. I have one here. While I've got a 6 meter Yagi, I've also used my 40 meter dipole over time. When it's not open, again, all the power and all the antennas, it doesn't really much matter. When conditions are a little bit on the marginal side, more power and more aluminum up the tower makes contacts that others that can't achieve this a little bit simpler. Again, talking about meteors, they enter the atmosphere night and day, all 24 hours. Here's the different type of 6 meter propagations that are out there: sporadic E, aurora, tropoducting, ionoscatter, TEP, or trans-equatorial propagation, rain scatter, backscatter, airplane scatter, and EME. A lot of different flavors of propagation that happens. It all kind of comes and joins together on 6 meters. So how does meteor scatter work? Let's kind of do a little bit of talking about that, talk about the characteristics of propagation, and let's talk about the WSJT software that was designed for working meteor scatter. First of all, to define a meteor is dust, sand, and small rock particles swept up by the Earth. They're usually at an altitude of about 50 to 60 miles. On entry, an ionized trail, sometimes called a burn, can last for from 0.1 to 2 seconds. If two stations can see the same piece of sky, they're in a position to use meteor scatter. That piece of sky can be hundreds of miles long and hundreds of miles wide. A short 1/10-second repeated message can get through, believe it or not, or be decoded by the WSJT software. Sometimes we can connect. A shared piece of this high-altitude sky may provide two stations to make a contact. While there's a lot of problems to it and there's no guarantees, the communication also depends on the velocity, the frequency, and the particle size. I would say with a decent antenna and some decent power, and that's nothing crazy. Now we're talking a small Yagi and 100 watts, 400 to 800 mile range is not out of the question at all. It all depends on the geometry. The meteor scatter geometry, the way it's defined, is the distance achievable depends on the geometry that provides reflections from ionized trails, those meteor burns, and a shared space of sky. I would say the minimum for meteor scatter, if you're going to try to work meteor scatter, is going to be about 400 miles or more. The maximum distance is about 12 to 1,400 miles. That doesn't mean that people haven't worked farther or worked closer, but I would just say these are two decent numbers to start with. The lower the angle, the amount of shared sky is diminished. The best case is to have the sky illuminated for the greatest chance of meteor trail reflections. So the higher it is, the better. The lower it is, the lower the angle, the sky is diminished. Here's kind of what it looks like. We've got station A and we've got station B on the right and the left, and they're both transmitting and receiving upward. Okay, here's the shared sky area. Here's the meteor that kind of comes through. My graphics are simple, but hopefully it'll give you an idea of what I'm trying to say. There's the meteor trail. There's the reflection area, hence signal goes up one way, comes down the other, and vice versa. And again, when you're using the software, it's happening and it's sending just constant packets of data that hit the reflection area and come back down, and the software decodes it. When all these connect together, we might truly make a contact. Are there meteors in the sky? Yeah, all the time. There really are. I'll give you a few stats that I came across. This is average daily meteor rates by the hour. This came from QST from a few years ago. Anywhere from 350 to 450, they tend to diminish in the afternoon and then start to rise again when we come around our 24-hour period. The best time for contact success that I have found over the years, let me talk a little bit about that chart too. That graph is based on the arrival rate. There's also what we call arrival velocity. That's the speed in which they're incoming, but that graph was based upon the arrival rate. It changes based upon the Earth's rotation and gravitational physics. I mean, there's a lot of different things that come into play, but the best meteor activity time that I've come across is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. local time due to favorable meteor rates and velocities. You can use meteor scatter at any time of the day, but over the years when I've tried this, morning seems to work pretty good. Do meteors have a cycle like sunspots? Well, they actually kind of do. Here's meteors by the month from January all the way till the end of December. Again, QST put this out a couple years ago. In July, June, July, and August, they tend to be the highest. And the reason why they're there is because there's predictable meteor showers. There are many meteor shower calendars on the internet. You can go take a look at amsmeteors.org, which is the American Meteor Society. But again, remember that you can use meteor scatter at any time of the year. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Well, let's keep going then. So here is let's kind of get into talking a little bit about the meteor showers. There's several well-known ones. For 2019, here are the predicted peaks. This is what we went through this year. The Quantritids, January 3rd was the night of the peak. The Lyrids, the 22nd. The Aquariids on the 5th and 6th. The The Perseids on the 12th, the Orionids on the 21st, which we just came through, and I actually did work a few contacts. The Leonids is probably one of the best showers for North America. I remember back in the 90s seeing the Leonids in November, in late November, and it was a storm. There actually was a couple of meteor storms where it lit up the bedroom all night long. There was so many rocks. It was crazy. And then the Geminids. Now, these are the bigger showers that a lot of people tend to take advantage of throughout the year. How are the showers named, or where do they come from? Well, the Quantids is a trail left by asteroid 203H1, and the Lyrids is something left by Comet C 1861 G1 Thatcher. The Aquariids is Halley's Comet. The Perseids is Comet Swift-Tuttle. The Orionids is Halley's Comet too, but since the Earth is in a different position, they actually name the shower differently. The Leonids is Comet Tempel-Tuttle, and the Geminids is Object 3200 Phaeton. There are a lot more showers out there. There's actually hundreds of minor showers, and if you go to the American Meteor Society, you can come across those. There's a sample of what one looks like. Comet's flying through. It's letting off a lot of ice, rocks, dust. That's the tail behind it. Most operators take advantage of meteor showers usually 3 to 5 days before the peak and 3 to 5 days after the peak. There's different websites out there that you can go take a look at that will try to, that will give you a peak prediction. But I don't believe anybody has ever really hit it on the head because it changes all the time, again, with the geometry of the Earth, or the geometry, I should say, of how the meteors come in and affect it. But I would say that with the bigger showers, like the ones we took a look at, these guys here, I would say that most of your guys that are into running this mode are going to work it for probably about 5 days before and 5 days after. And of course, when it peaks, contacts tend to go a lot faster and a lot quicker and a lot simpler. Again, there's no determining, there's no exact science for determining the peak of the shower. It's just getting out there, using some tools we'll look at here in just a minute. Get out there and start to set up some schedules and start running. Here's some great online resources that I use. Again, the American Meteor Society, IMONet has got some interesting software. datetandtime.com/astronomy has got some stuff. And of course, there's a lot more out there, but I found these three are pretty interesting. So let's talk about what we need to get started if you want to try this mode of operation. First of all, you're going to need an antenna. Every dB counts in weak signal VHF operation. I would say that 100 watts, if someone were to ask me, well, what do I need that's going to be somewhat reliable or I'm going to have some success, I would say that 100 watts of power would be about where you need to start. An antenna that has horizontal polarization, a 2-element beam will work fine. I actually worked several stations last year on Meteor Scatter with my hex beam that provides 2 elements on 6 meters. But again, a 5-element Yagi will work even better. Verticals, they're poor. Will they work? Possibly. Hard to say. But I mean, in general, the wrong polarization, low gain. Dipoles, again, same thing. You need something with a little bit of directivity that you can actually point into the shower. So here's a simple 3-element LFA Yagi. You're only talking about a 6-foot boom, a very small antenna. Can go up on a very lightweight rotor, not a lot to it. There's a Comet 4-element or a Diamond 4-element or Comet 4-element 6-meter beam. This gentleman, I've watched all of his videos. KD4MXA, he has got an unbelievable YouTube channel with a lot of different information, and he goes through building one of Justin's G0KSC's LFA Aggies for 6 meters. It's a 3-part build. It's about 5-6 minutes on each one, on each video. Tells you where to get materials and what have you. And if you want to build a Yagi that's affordable and will work well, I would suggest you watch George's video. I was very impressed by what he does. Free Yagi designs for ham radio. I cannot support Justin enough. G0KSC, the owner of Innov Antennas. He puts all of his antennas that he makes, that he sells, which he offers quite a few antennas. He has all the exact specs and measurements online on his website at g0ksc.co.uk. If you don't want to build it yourself, you can go to innovantennas.com. He sells everything already, put together, pre-cut. You just have to assemble it. Shipping, he's very, he uses very reasonable rates to ship antennas from the UK here. I run a lot of his stuff, and I've just been very happy with the service. Even if you don't buy an antenna from Justin and you send him an email and say, hey, I took one of your designs, trying to put it together, I need some help, he'll answer you. The guy is just amazing with the amount of help that he offers to the amateur community. Plus, he's always testing, working on the latest, greatest designs, not only for VHF and UHF, but for HF as well. He's taken a lot of the Force 12 antennas and remodeled them to be more efficient. You can get those designs on his website as well. If you go to his website, here's just a sample of a, I believe this is a 5-element beam. You can actually click the link on there. It gives you all the measurements, the spacing, the element length in both meters and metric and US, how to build the feed point. And he also offers, the LFA Yagi has the, if you look at it here, in the back, it's got that square feed, and those angles over here are a little bit scary to make that loop if you don't have the right equipment. He sells those pre-bent pieces for you. They're like $1.50, $2 a piece. So everything you need, from insulators to all the hard to make parts, he actually carries on his website. Again, I push him because he's helped the community so much, and he's not asked for anything in return. Feed line, and we've talked about this on a couple of different shows. You got to use good feed line. You're going to put up something you're going to use for VHF 50 meg and above. Make sure you feed it with LMR 400. Don't try to use Mini 8 or 58 or something like that. Use a good quality cable, something that's got a good shield, that's going to take all the power from the radio, and it's going to dump it upward. Transceivers, I mean, we could go through the list. You need a radio at 50 megahertz, the 7300. I've owned mine now for a couple of years. It's just an amazing radio. I'm starting to save my nickels. I'd like to try a 7610 someday, but you just can't beat this thing. It truly is for the price. It has kind of changed. It's kind of changed equipment, and this radio is perfect for working these digital modes. Software, again, is the WJST software package. It stands for, WSJT stands for Weak Signal by Joe Taylor. The software was originally developed in 01, open sourced in 05. It's supported today by volunteers and Joe. WSJTX supports even more protocols, and what I love about this software is you can run it on Linux, on Windows, on Macintosh, and a lot of other stuff. So there's no reason. Joe has made this software work so well on so many different platforms, and again, on his website, all you have to do is search for WSJT, go out there, and all the information that you need is out there with great help sections and a lot of different people. I believe it's K0PRI or PIR has a video. He's kind of the ICOM 737610 expert. He uses this software as well, and you can go look at his videos. There's plenty of things on the web to get you set up with many different radios. The mode used for meteor scatter today, there are several modes, but the one that's the most common is called MSK 144. That's part of the WSJTX suite of modes. The strategy of the game, the basics. You send a short message repeating continuously for 15 seconds. Then you listen for 15 seconds while the other station transmits. You keep trying this until a meteor trail provides enough reflection to code the message. The sporadic nature of pings makes it possible for many stations to share the same frequency. If there's a meteor shower going on and you have a SCED set up, the calling frequency for meteor scatter work is 50.260. That's where everybody's at. If you have SCED set up, move up the band a little bit, get out of the way, and go ahead and run your scan off the calling frequency. What is MSK 144? Well, there's a lot of different numbers there. I guess I'll just go from a high level. It essentially is a mode that is pushing a lot of data through. It's got error correction coming through, and lots of clever signal processing tricks that are going on. It works very, very well. It's amazing how well it works. The contact itself to works 2 stations. The message exchange is, if we want to call it a legal contact, both stations copy both radio call signs. They both exchange grid information or signal report, and there's at least one acknowledgement of Roger. So in an example here, here's a sample contact I ran with my friend Chris back in the Chicago area. I received him calling CQ. I went back to him. He came back to me. We went back and forth, just a handful of transmissions, and we were able to complete. Now, it took some time to do that, but the WSJT software also sequences for you. You don't have to sit there and type anything or click anything. It's pretty much going to roll itself through once you click on and get started. The screen looks a little bit. I took a screenshot from one of the groups I belong to. This was a couple of different stations that were out there going at it this summer. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of people calling back and forth, but again, the software maintains itself and does the sequencing and takes care of it for you. That's what it looks like. If you've run FT8, of course, it all kind of looks the same in the WSJTX software platform, although the bottom changes a little bit depending on the mode to accommodate the different modes. Anyway, again, as I said, I put the say what in there for when you look at this and go, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. But again, it'll take care of all the sequencing. It'll keep you rolling along. Station hardware, pretty simple. An antenna, again, I would say a 2 to 5 element, 6-meter Yagi, 100 watts, a transceiver with an interface into your computer running WSJT. A lot of the newer radios like the 7300, you don't even need that interface anymore. You can plug USB right into your USB port on the back of the computer. I will say that if you give this a try, any of these digital modes a try, make sure that you've got plenty of toroids snapped on or by yourself. Spend a little bit more. Don't buy some cheap cable. Use something that is shielded. In the past I've used some cheaper cables, and I've had RF get into it, and it causes the computer to confuse the radio, and the radio starts clacking relays and stuff like that. So again, use good cable there. Best practices, we'll just go through it real quick. Your computer clock, it has to be accurate. If you're running FT8, as you know, if your clock is off, you're going to have a problem with decodes. So you have to have an accurate time base. That's 70. That message, when you're running MSK 144, repeats every 72 milliseconds. So it's constantly, transmitting, and then vice versa. It's receiving. Dimension 4 is a great software tool. It's free. You can have it on your PC, and it ensures that your PC time is set correctly. Or if you want to go a little bit further, get a GPS dongle, and I know there's some software you can plug it into the back of your computer, and you can use GPS for lock. But Dimension 4 has been pretty decent for me. Ping Jockey is another place that I would say probably 99% of the people who are running Meteor Scatter are hanging out at. On Ping Jockey, they allow you to set up skeds there. If you start chatting or kind of going off topic, you'll get reminded real quickly that you're not there to do that. It's really to set up skeds and help you work through contacts. Now, I know that the ARRL, I believe, was a couple years ago, allowed during the VHF contests that you could use coordination platforms like Ping Jockey and some other things with these digital modes. And I know for EME as well too, Ping Jockey has an EME tab on here as well for setting up moonbound skeds on 6 and 2 and all the different bands. But Ping Jockey is a great tool to log into. I would say that if nobody is out there, yes, you could go to 50.260, load up MSK 144, hit enter, and start calling CQ. You may find somebody that'll come back to you, but I would say for the most part, everybody's kind of hanging out here, and this way, kind of working together to see if they can get their QSOs to complete. There's the website at pingjockey.net. How it came up with the name is it's got nothing to do with submarines or sonar. They came up with it because of the meteor trail pings that you can sometimes hear when you're listening. It sounds like a glass ping. It's a chat room for scheduling. It's been around for many, many years. There's a web page, a chat room, and there's also a Windows client. And as I say again, it's moderated, so keep comments and keep your comments to the subject at hand. If you tend to start talking about other things, the moderator usually jumps on board. For logging your contacts, there's all kinds of different pieces of software out there, but WSJT and WSJTX have a built-in logger that works really, really well. It stores all your files, so you can play them back if you want to. It's compatible with the log file. Will work with Logbook of the World. It's really a one-stop place. It has a published API that's used by Ham Radio Deluxe and 1MM and several other logging software products that are out there. I guess I'll give you my final thoughts and I'll wrap it up for the night. I know we threw a lot of stuff out here. Again, this is just a little bit of a guide to get you interested in it. It's by no means the tell-all of meteor scatter. It just takes trial and error. But it's fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. Again, 24 hours a day. There's rocks flying. So jump on Ping Jockey and see who's out there. It's easy to operate. The contacts tend to be very slow. Sometimes they happen fast, Again, MSK 144 will keep making contacts after all the other propagation dies on 6 meters. This guy will continue to go. That's the end of my slideshow. I don't know if there's any questions, Tom. Again, I would say that if you're currently running FT8 or FT4 and you have a radio with 6 meters, maybe outside of an antenna, you're already there. I would try to get on something like Ping Jockey. I wouldn't try to go after this on my own by any means. In the first few times, you may have success, you may not. It's kind of hit and miss, but there's magic dust flying through the air all the time, and take advantage of it. It's a lot of fun. Did we lose you, Tom? Oh, let's see. Hello, Tom. Well, did we lose Tom? Or did I disconnect by chance? Let's go take a look over here and see.
I guess if you turn my mixer up, it will.
Did we lose you, or were we good?
No. I had my. I had the mixer turned down on my wireless, so I wouldn't generate any noise. We had a couple questions. In the chat room.
Sure.
One was, does Doppler shift come into effect here? Does that cause you any issues?
No.
Okay.
No.
And it does on satellite, but here it doesn't seem to. Now, a couple other things. Let's see. They were talking about Doppler shift, and you had mentioned you need at least maybe like a 2-element beam or something,
Mm-hmm.
or can you work it with a dipole?
You could. I know there's a few people that have used either a Moxon or a loop. I know companies like M Square sells the whole loop for 6 meters. But I would say that you really, really need at least a couple element, probably at a minimum a 3-element Yagi. Although I worked quite a few contacts last year with my hex beam. It's got 2 elements on 6. One thing that a lot of guys that are experimenting with is that adding a little bit of elevation, 10 to 12 degrees of elevation, is night and day.
And that was one of the other questions. Was do we need to do any elevation? Somebody suggested maybe 20 degrees or something, but it helps, I guess, to go above the horizon, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I know here in town we've got a gentleman up in North Salt Lake who's been trying to work a couple of stations down in Mexico for months, and he ended up putting a little 4-element, one of those comet antennas up, and he put about 15 degrees of elevation, kind of pointed it in, pointed it his way with a little bit of elevation, and the contact was made instantly. Now, was that just, luck of the draw? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that guys are using EME arrays. A lot of guys run 2-meter meteor scatter too, not only on 6. I would say 2 is popular as 6, if maybe not more so. But for the sake of the little presentation here, I thought.
Yeah, I know. I know the WSJT has all these different programs like the one you just described, and I just recently learned how to use the FT8 and got it interfaced and working and so forth. So I want to do some JT65 stuff. Maybe you can help us there. I'd like to know how to do JT65, and here's where I'm interested. It has an echo function, I think, built in, and I'd like to be able to look at that echo function to see if we can see our signal come back from the moon.
Right, so you'd run JT65B.
Right.
That's what they're running for moon bounce.
Okay.
So I believe you picked up a Yagi. And you could put it up on your satellite. There's a lot of guys that are making 2-meter EME contacts with just a Yagi and a couple hundred watts. It's amazing.
Right.
And yes, you can actually ping the moon with that echo function.
Yeah, that's what I want to try. And also, I wanted to do this with the JT65. Even though if you don't ping or get a signal back from the moon, you should be able to copy maybe some of the big stations that are reflecting off the moon, right? You should be able to copy that.
Well, and matter of fact, last month there was, or during the EME contest here just a little while ago, there was some single Yagi to single Yagi stations that were completing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
As the software gets better, that's one thing that Joe and the group of guys that are working on this project, they're constantly tweaking this stuff, constantly tweaking it. I can't believe how well FT4 works. I like FT8. I know there's some people, again, I've been a ham for 40 years, and I know there's some people that are very down on, well, you're using a computer, and you're, well, you know what? Hey, it's a lot of fun. I think it really teaches us about how propagation works. We're finding new pathways. It's cool. It's really, really cool. And they keep tweaking on the releases of stuff, and they're making things better and better. I mean, you could hear down to negative 24 dB below the noise with FT8, and FT4 isn't far behind it.
Yeah. Well, let's plan another segment on some of those modes. I'm really interested in the EME stuff, and I'd like to try some of that. And I'm gonna look into this meteor scatter too. That's interesting. I was not aware that there was meteor scatter up there just about all hours of the day. Mm-hmm. That was a fact I didn't know. Well, Pat,
yeah, if you've got, and if you've got a dipole up, I guess there's no reason why you can't, on one of your, if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna do something for the afternoon, dial up to 50.260, take your WSJTX, put it into the MSK 144 mode, and leave it. Just see what you see. Just see what you come across. A couple of times with just my little, I didn't think I could do it with the 2-element hex beam. Mm-hmm. I turned it on, went and did stuff for the entire afternoon, came back. I'm like, wow, the screen was full. I didn't work anybody, but I decoded a lot of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, hey, Pat, thanks very much. Very interesting tonight to talk about this. And we're running just a little late, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into the 3/8 vertical. A lot of people are very interested in that. So we're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes here. Pat, glad to have you back, man. I know you've been busy and a lot of things going on in your life and your everything, but it seems like maybe now you have a little time to get involved in some more ham radio activity here. So we're glad to have you back.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
We'll do another segment here soon, okay?
Okay, I want to hear about your vertical. I got to build up
something
for my son.
Thank you. All right. Okay, guys. Okay. So everybody stand by. We're going to talk about in a minute the 3/8 wavelength vertical, a hidden gem. Hey, look at there. You can see through the picture there. Okay. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We'll be right back. So everybody just stand by.
Heard it, worked it, logged it. It's time to get the transceiver that's best suited for your lifestyle. ICOM offers a variety of high-performance and innovative products. Make the most out of contesting with one of these ICOMs today. The IC7610 is the SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The ICOM 7610 is a direct sampling software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. It has 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receivers, and dual Digiselect, changing the way entry-level HF is designed. The IC7300 is a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and an SD memory card slot. The IC7851 allows you to keep your competitive contesting edge with faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. ICOM's IC7851 is a pinnacle of HF perfection. It has dual receivers, digital IF filters, memory keyer, digital voice recorder, high-resolution spectrum waterfall, enhanced PC connectivity, and an SD memory card slot. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, guys, we're back, and we're going to talk about, I've been home brewing ham radio stuff for over 50 years, and every now and then you run across a really neat project that really works well, and it's so easy to make. And I tell you, I have added this to my antennas. I've got a number of wire antennas out that I use. I've got a 40-meter delta loop out there. I've got a 40-meter extended double ZEP. I've got inverted V's up for 80, 40, and 20. But I wanted a vertical polarized antenna just to play with it. And I saw an article in QST. It was April the 19th in QST, if you've got this. And the article was written by Joe Reiser, W1JR. And he talks about the 3/8 wavelength vertical, and he calls it the hidden gem. And there's some reasons he calls it that. First of all, it's so easy to make, and it works so well. And I'm going to talk a little about it and show you what it took to build it for me. So the 3/8 vertical, 3/8 wavelength vertical is so easy to build. It's a great performance DX antenna because it's got a low angle of radiation. And we'll talk about that low angle of radiation here in a minute. So here's a couple characteristics about this antenna. first of all, a 3/8 antenna. You know, a quarter wave antenna has maybe a 20, 30 ohm, feed point. The 3/8 wavelength antenna has an impedance of about 200 ohms resisted. So to match that, we're going to need a 4-to-1 balun, or 4-to-1 matching, to take that 200 ohms down to 50. Now, it does have some inductive reactance in it, somewhere between 200 and 600 ohms of inductive reactance. But that's easily taken out by a single capacitor. And you can put a variable capacitor in there, or you can put a fixed capacitor in there. But to take this reactance out, it requires approximately 40 picofarad capacitance. This thing has a very low angle of radiation. We got a lot of new people, a lot of new hams that are starting to join our show and maybe don't understand a lot about takeoff angle and radiation of the antennas and stuff. But if you look at this picture here, you can see station A over on the left side there. And with one antenna, he has a little bit higher or a much higher angle of radiation. You can see the red line. It goes up and hits the ionosphere and bounces down. So you can see the first bounce doesn't go very far. Maybe 2 bounces, it goes a little bit further. But if you've got an antenna, that has a much lower angle of takeoff of radiation, then you can see the blue line there. When it hits the ionosphere up there and bounces down, you can see with that low angle, it goes much further. And look at that, 2 hops just about takes you to the other side of the world here, practically. So that's one of the benefits there. The 3/8 wavelength vertical has a takeoff angle of about 23 degrees, whereas a quarter wave vertical or ground plane has about 28, 29 degree takeoff angle. So it's a lot better for DX. So I want to talk to you a little about what I did to build it. First of all, you need to buy, I think I bought one part. I ordered a toroid off eBay. I think I paid $13 for it. And this is a T240-61. T240-61. 13 bucks off eBay. Now that's tape. That's tape I put around it just to protect the wires as I wind wires around it. It's got a bifilament winding in it. Very simple. It's just a double twisted pair of wire that is fed around the inside of the toroid. So the plans say, the plans called for, I think, 8 turns in the toroid. Now, you need to use some good PVC wire. Well, first of all, if you're running low power, if you're running 100 watts, I think you could use just about any kind of wire on here you wanted to. You could even use magnet wire if you wanted to. But this particular wire here, have any of you guys ever replaced a ballast in a fluorescent light? And if you have replaced a ballast in a fluorescent light, and you take that little piece of metal off up there, you will see this wire in there that connects the bulbs to the ballast. And usually they give you about 3 or 4 foot of extra wire. So when I changed out a ballast, I always cut that wire off and throw it in my junk box. This wire is a high voltage wire. It's got I think it has a PVC coating on it, so it's a pretty high voltage insulated wire. So it's a bifiller, and we just twist the wire together, and we wrap it through the toroid about 8 turns to give us what we need there. So there it is. There it is finished. Little tie wrap across each end holds it in place. Now, how do you know if it's working? Well, you know, if we want to go 200, if we're anticipating the antenna's 200 ohms, and we want to match 50, a good way to check any balun out is to put a resistor across it and check it with an antenna analyzer. So here you see I have two 100 ohm resistors in series. That's a 200 ohm impedance I have there. So I've got 200 ohms connected across there. And we've got it hooked to an antenna analyzer. And if you look right there, sure enough, bippity boppity bang, it's 50 ohms. So the 200 ohms there is being translated to 50 ohms. So that's kind of cool right there. Now, I didn't do anything fancy when I first put this thing on the air. I took a board, just a plain old piece of wood, scrap wood, and I tie wrapped the toroid on there. And because I didn't know what the exact capacitance would be, I put a variable capacitor on there. Now, this capacitor has pretty wide plates. If you look at it, let's see. It's got pretty wide plates. I was easily running a kilowatt, about a kilowatt on this, and I've been running it for about a month now for our net and other operation. But the other day I noticed when I would transmit, my SWR would go crazy. It would jump. And what was happening, I think I was getting some arcing in the capacitor. I went out and took a look at it, and there was a few little spider webs in there, maybe a few little bugs in there, a spider. Probably it was arcing across bugs or something that actually had got in the between the plates there. So I thought, okay, I really need to fix that if I'm going to run high power, and I just need to fix it. So I brought it back in the house. Now, once you set the tuner, and let me go back to, okay. Once you set the antenna analyzer on this and you tune the capacitor, it tuned down to just about a perfect 1-to-1 match, and it looked just outstanding out there. So you don't have to touch your capacitor anymore after you set it. So, okay, so I need to really replace that capacitor. There's moisture out there, there's bugs, there's different things. So I took a capacitance meter here, and I just measured the setting I had on the capacitor. And I found that it was, if you look at the picture, you can see about 43 picofarad. So the capacitance I needed was about 43 picofarad to cancel out the inductive reactance in that antenna. So I wanted to replace that, and you can replace it with just ceramic capacitors if you want to. You can replace it with a ceramic. In fact, this is what the author suggested, a ceramic capacitor like this. You get a 40 picofarad and put that in there. And if you're going to run high power, you probably should parallel a couple of these. But get a high voltage ceramic capacitor and put in there. But I didn't want to put this in there because I'm running over a kilowatt here. And what I decided to do was, once I measured it and I saw that we really needed about 43 picofarad, I went to my junk box and I found some doorknob capacitors. Now, anybody that's ever worked on TVs back in the 60s or whatever will probably recognize these. These are doorknob capacitors. You usually found one in every TV. And they were in a high voltage section of the TV. Now, a TV, the anode voltage in a black and white TV, I think was something like 17,000 volts. So these capacitors are probably have a rating of maybe 20,000, 25, 30,000 volts. Okay, so if you remember when we checked the capacitor, it read 43 picofarad is what we needed, because we don't tune that capacitor. Once it's set, we leave it. We needed 43. So in the junk box, I pulled out some doorknob capacitors, and look at that. That one read almost 42 picofarad. About 42 picofarad right there. And I thought, well, that's going to be close enough, actually. The SWR might be 1.05 to 1. It might be off just a little bit, but I'm gonna use it. If you notice that capacitor, I had marked 50 on there, 50 picofarad on there with a pen, but it was in fact really a 40 picofarad doorknob. So I took the capacitor out. Let me show you the before and after. The top is the original build using a variable capacitor and the toroid. That's the one where I got a little arcing in it. The bottom is the very same circuit, very same values, except we're using the fixed doorknob capacitor in there as a fixed capacitor. And again, at 20 or 30,000 volt rating, I knew that there wouldn't be any problem in running, a kilowatt or 1,500 watts with that capacitor. So that's the before and after. And that's kind of what it looks like right there. Now I found this is a little medicine box that some medicines come in, a little plastic box. And I thought, well, this will keep it out of the rain and weather. So I built it in that. And it's got a nice little top. The little top, you can see it's got a gasket on it. That thing fits down and all four sides snap. They snap in to make that thing seal really, really tight there. There's another shot of the entire matching device for it. Again, you can use the ceramic capacitor to replace the variable capacitor. I think there's still a bug in here. You can do that, or put a doorknob in, or put a high voltage ceramic in. So all three of these will actually do the same thing for you. So I put it outside on the antenna and just did a quick test with the antenna analyzer. Let's see what it looks like here. Wow, just right at the end of the band, about 7 megahertz, we've got about a 1.5. As we go up, I was setting it for the phone band at 7180. Let's see how that looks. So we're going to tune it up a little bit. All right, we're starting to get in the phone band. We got a very good match here, about a 1.2. It's getting even better. There's a 1.1. There's a 7200. So let's keep going up in frequency, There's 1.5. So we cover the entire ham band plus more, 1.5 or less. And in the band where I designed it to operate, down around 7180, we're doing pretty good there. There's 7180. So that fixed capacitor has a really good resonance. You can see that, boy, the thing is really broad banded. It covers 1.5 or less. It'll cover the entire band. And up in the phone band where I actually had it tuned with that capacitor and matched that 40 picofarad capacitor, the match was like 1-to-1 in that area, and it was very wide. So this antenna is it's just cool. It's you know what, and I'm missing a slide here. I'm actually missing a slide, but let me explain to you what it is out there. I just noticed this. What I have is on 40 meters, 3/8 wavelength on 40 meters is about 47 feet. So I have a piece of wire. It's just a piece of wire, 47 feet tall. Have an insulator at the top, insulator at the bottom. A little rope on it over a tree limb, and then down at the bottom I have it anchored to the ground. So I've got a 47-foot piece of wire standing up, and this matching box here just sits right next to it, connects to the 47-foot wire. Now the ground does connect to, you do need a ground on this, and it'll work fine with 4 quarter wave radials. If you want to put a quarter wave radio out there, they don't have to be 3/8, they can be quarter wave. Or I just connected to my ground system out there in my antenna farm. I've got a lot of random wires buried, and I've never gone with resonant radios buried. I've got wires. I've probably got about 15 to 20 wires buried. They vary in length from 130 feet long to 10 feet long, 20 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet. They're just all different lengths. And I use that for my ground system, and it seems to work very well there. One of the things about the vertical antenna, if you're using a quarter wave antenna, the high current spot on that antenna, let's just say, let's just say this is our antenna. Need a better antenna. This is our antenna. So on a 40 meter, say on a quarter wave ground plane or vertical, your high current point is at the very base. And if that's at the ground, if that thing's sitting on the ground, if that vertical setting on the ground and your high current point is at the ground, you can see you're gonna have a lot of ground losses. But on a 3/8 vertical, your maximum current point is about 20 feet up on the antenna. So you get it quite a ways from the ground, and you don't get as much ground loss there. So this antenna can be used for different. You can design it for different bands. The author here built his for 20 meters. And for 20 meters, a 17 foot 6-inch wire is all it takes. 17 foot 6, and anybody can find a tree limb outside, 17 feet above the ground. And on that, you would of course use 20 meter quarter wave radios if you wanted to lay your radios out. They would be somewhat shorter than 17 feet. But in my case, I built the 40 meter, 47 feet tall. This antenna, I can switch it on my antenna switch here between the inverted V's, the delta loop, extended double zep, and the vertical. And it functions and operates almost as well as any of the antennas. Sometimes it's actually stronger, and that's probably because it's omnidirectional and it's picking up stations where my inverted V, they may be nulled out there.
Hey, Tom.
So that's what we did there on the antenna. And I'd recommend this antenna to anybody. It is a hidden gem. And if you take QS2 magazine, just go to April this year, and there's a nice article in here, and he gets into a lot of the theory and how it works. But anyway, hey, that's the 3/8 vertical. I want to try a half-wave vertical. I was talking to Martin Jew about this. And I want to try a halfway vertical. I got to figure out, the matching on it, but that might be a good one to play with too. Let me look and see if there's anything in the chat room. It's 9:30, so we're not going to open the phone lines tonight. It's getting about time to close the show. Let's see.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
Quick
go ahead,
Pat. What was the spec on that toroid again?
The toroid. This toroid is a T240-61.
Okay.
T240-61. You key that in on eBay, and I found them for $13. And I have run a kilowatt on this little balun that you see here that I built. Right here. I mean, I run a kilowatt on it, and it hadn't gone, no problems with it. It hadn't got erratic. I hadn't melted the wires. It's hung in there. I'm thinking that to keep from saturating that toroid, it might be, if you're going to run a high power, like 1500 watts, there may be some advantage to putting a dual dual core toroid in here. Just put two T240-61s in here and wrap the wire around them. Again, 8 turns is all it takes. Nothing fancy. You can't really mess it up, man. It's pretty simple. And again, you don't have to use a doorknob, but if I'm running 1500 watts, I kind of wanted to be sure that I had something solid out there. But you can run these. In fact, the author talks about just using a ceramic, high voltage ceramic capacitor. And even if you're going to run a kilowatt, you could probably double these up, probably 2 of them, maybe 3 of them in parallel, and you can run a kilowatt with it. In fact, a lot of equipment that you buy nowadays for the capacitors, the feed capacitors that feed RF, use these, and they'll double them up or triple them to get the current capability.
I'm thinking about for 20 meters. I picked up some of these squid poles, these carbon fibers or fiberglass squid poles. You can get them out of China for $5 a piece, and they're 21 feet. And I was thinking about starting off just because it's a simple support, and I've got it laying here to build the one for 20 meters with the 17.5 foot wire. And then what is he using for radials? 17.5 foot for the radials as well?
No, now the 17.5 foot is actually 3/8 wavelength, okay?
For 20.
For 20, yeah. But you can use quarter wave radials, so it'd be somewhat shorter. So okay. whatever quarter wave is on 20, I don't know, 16 feet or I don't even know right now. Let's see, quarter wave. I'm not sure. Well, you can figure it out.
Sure.
You use the formula there and put your radios in. Like I say, I don't use resonant linked radios. I just have random radios everywhere from 130 feet down to 10 feet. Just running all different directions out there.
It looks like a nice little field day antenna too.
Yeah, and you could put it on a pole and you could carry it and just lay the radios out. And he mentions he used a 40 to 50 picofarad at 20 meters, and that's exactly what I used on 40 meters. So we know that the impedance at resonant frequency, the impedance is going to be about 200 ohms, whatever frequency you're on. And I guess the inductive capacitance is going to probably be similar. I'm guessing it's similar because we used the same picofarad capacitor on both 40 meters and 20 meters to cancel out that.
What was the spec on that little blue cap? Because I would build this just for 100 watts.
Well, this is just a sample I pulled out of my junk box. It's not even a 40 picofarad, but I mean, you can. I would get 1,000 volt. I would get a high voltage 1,000 volt. Order a 40 picofarad. Maybe order some 10s. And sure. if you put this in there and you need just a little bit more, parallel a 10 across it or something. Parallel a 5 across it. But these are so cheap. They're like, get you a 1,000 volt 40 picofarad. Cap. You probably have to buy 10. You could probably buy 10 of them for $1.50, with free shipping. This is the perfect solution right here. Yep. That's your perfect, high voltage solution, and you'll see big capacitors like this in a lot of big amplifiers where they would use this something like this between the final output tubes and the pi network to transfer the RF through it and to block the DC.
Right.
I was looking at my alpha amp here. My alpha amp, I figured they would use something like this because that alpha amp will run 2,000 watts. And they actually used these. I think they had 3 of these paralleled in there to replace this. Oh. And that just shows you, 3,000 watts, these work,
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, try one out and build it. You can build it for about nothing. And you know what? If you've got a 4-to-1 ballon laying around somewhere, I would imagine you can just stick that on there. You know, like one of these you purchase off eBay.
Sure.
You know,
and you don't have to build
just
that
run the
up.
leads
Just
and
get
put
the
that
4-to-1.
capacitor. Run the leads and put that capacitor in series with it to the antenna, and it probably function the very same thing. You know.
Looks
Okay.
good.
All right. Any questions in the chat room here before we terminate the show tonight? I hope you guys enjoyed the antenna deal. One of the things I'm going to talk about here soon on the antenna, maybe the next project, let me get it here. I'll show you. I like playing with antenna tuners and things like that, and might have showed you this last week. But this is my remote tuner I'm building. Capacitor, a gear motor on the end here, and then we've got a rotary inductor here. Let's see if it's a turn. Yeah, a rotary inductor with a gear motor here, and I've got this in a T configuration. This is a differential capacitor. It's actually two capacitors together with one plate that turns between them. And when one gets at minimum, the other one gets at maximum. And you can see, you know, when I get halfway on one, I'm halfway on the other. And it's just a little simple control box with two switches that send the 12 volts DC down to the motors. And you can actually turn the coil and you can turn the capacitor. And I'm amazed how a T-match will match just about any impedance network. I mean, it's got a very wide range of matching there. But this is just something I played with. I really don't need it. I don't know if I have a place outside to even put it. I've got a MFJ 1.5 kilowatt auto tuner outside in a weatherproof box that I use on my extended double ZEP. That way I can tune that extended double ZEP to any band, any frequency. But I like playing with antennas, maybe an inverted L, maybe a couple 100-foot long wire just connected to this guy right here, and hit the old motor and turn the inductor and turn the capacitor back and forth, and you can watch that match, that SWR, just go like that down to 1-to-1 with this. So we might talk a little about something like this, maybe on one of the shows. I wanted to talk about using a tree for an antenna. We've talked about that on the previous shows. It's probably bad timing right now because we're getting into winter and the trees are going dormant and the sap is not running. So I think we'll have better luck with a tree antenna, maybe in the springtime or summertime. So I'm gonna save that for springtime or summertime. If we got anybody new in the room that has not joined us, join our Facebook group. It's called W5KUB on Facebook, and we have about 8,000 hams in that group. We'd love to have you. If you're listening out there on shortwave on WBCQ, send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. If you're listening on our shortwave station, 5130 kilohertz. So I'm going to say good night to everybody. Enjoyed it, and I'll check in the chat room here in just a minute and answer any questions we have in the chat room. But I'm going to go ahead and sign the show off, and we will see everybody again next week. Don't forget about our 40-meter net.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question. It will
Take care, Tom.
Bye.
Okay, man.
A lot of fun as always.
There's the answer
Hey,
code.
let's do something with JT65B or something here soon. I'd like to know how it works, and especially the echo thing.
You're the man. I've been looking
Sounds
for this
good.
for
And
weeks.
does that need to be on? Is that on 2 meters or 6?
2.
On 2 meters. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah, what I'm going to try to do is probably going to be more for the spring, but try to do a night when we've got, I'll take a look at the moon calendar, and I'll have my 2 antennas up here pretty soon if the winter don't